Hello, I'm Graham Horton and welcome to this video. First of all, a full disclosure, I was approached a couple of months ago by Yololiv to review the new Yolobox Extreme device. At first I said no. I'm only a small content creator here on YouTube. I've only got 86,000 subscribers, so in terms of big fish I haven't got that big of an audience. So I said no because I didn't really think that would fit in with your needs. After I refused the first time, they did come back and say would I like to take one on a loan basis so I could try it out for myself without any strings attached. So I agreed in principle to take it on loan and try it and put it through its paces. This is my review after using the device for several weeks. Now I don't live stream at all, so it has a limited use in my application. I've got the Yolobox Pro and you can see on the desktop here my clutter for this sort of environment where I have the Yolobox Pro here. It's only got 3 HDMI inputs. Sometimes I'll need more than 3, so in this case I need 5. So I'm using my A10 mini switcher to provide that input for the other units. So it does become a bit cluttered. There are lots of connections to go wrong, and sometimes you find that halfway through a production you've lost continuity through the HDMI cable, or something's gone wrong with the audio and you only notice that at the end of the production. So that's how this now appears. On YouTube I produce tutorial videos for mainly Panasonic Lumix bridge cameras and some of the Sony range, and I also produce user manuals. Now I've got 5 on Amazon for different camera types. So basically it's really only me and a couple of cameras and a couple of microphones to produce content. So the Yolobox Extreme would be a real overkill, although it does have some fascinating features which I'll be showing you in this video, which if you are a content creator with a lot of subscribers and you want to up your game, this might be the unit that will help you achieve that. So first of all, let's do an unboxing of this device and I'll show you exactly what you get. Then we'll put it through its paces and you can see what features and benefits are in this device for you. In the standard shipping box you'll receive 2 boxes. One is the Yolobox Extreme and the other one is the power supply to power or charge the internal battery of the device. Let's just put that power supply to one side and have a look at the main feature. So this is the box itself. It's quite a heavy box. It weighs over 1.5 kilograms due to the weight of the Yolobox itself. On the box you can see the graphics of the device itself, pointing out the HDMI inputs, the USB-C inputs, etc., and a picture of the front. Let's have a look at the device itself. And it's protected with a cardboard sleeve. In the package you'll get the card here, which is join our Facebook community, so a QR code to scan. You'll get the shortened version of a user manual, tells you all about the box and the specifications, how to power it up and set it up, so just a basic manual. Then we have the main device, and this one has a protective cover on the screen. And now we'll remove the device from the box. So it's quite a heavy device, and we'll just put that to one side. In the lower compartment you'll get 2 USB cables, very good high quality cables. One is the USB-A to USB-C and the other is USB-C to USB-C, so they can be used for charging the device or connecting ancillaries. There's also a little plastic slider which I removed, which goes into the SD slot of the device. There's also a little compartment here which contains 2 antennas which are used to boost the Wi-Fi signal strength if you're using this over Wi-Fi. And there's also a cold shoe mount which is there to screw into the base of the unit, so the 1/4 mount there, and you could then mount this to a tripod. But with this being 1.5 kilograms, I wouldn't really recommend it on this device, but it's there for that purpose. So this is the Yolobox Extreme, £2,000, $2,000, and it is a fantastic device. Let me turn it round so we can have a look at some of the features. So this is the rear of the unit, and you can see our HDMI input sockets. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 which are labelled 4K, and the first 3 are labelled 1080p. You'll see in a moment I've done a test, and you can actually input 4K to these 3 sockets, record the native ISO file if you like from the camera, and also record in 4K from those 3 ports. So I need to get that validated, but it looks as though you can input 4K directly into HDMI 1, 2 and 3, as well as in the 4 to 8. So I've got a little test scene here so I can validate the input from HDMI 1 and HDMI 5. Both cameras are set up to give me a 4K input resolution. HDMI port 1 is suspected to be 1080p, but I'm actually being able to record in 4K. So if we just switch into that operation, you can see I've got the output for the program file to be 4K, and we're recording natively HDMI 1 and HDMI 5. So the actual camera signals are coming into the device and being recorded at their native resolutions. Here on the desk I've got a monitor which is monitoring the output from the camera, which is this one here, which is recording the scene. If I just press the menu, you can see that that is actually 4K, so we're actually recording 4K on HDMI 1. That's been validated, so we'll be able to see in the video that we're actually switching and controlling the device with a 4K signal on HDMI 1. 2 HDMI outputs which can be programmed. You can have different feeds going out to different sockets. LAN socket if you want to connect this directly to your router for increased bandwidth. We've got our USB-A inputs here, USB 1 and 2. They can provide inputs for things like hard disks, keyboards and mice, wireless receivers, etc. You can put webcams on here, but remember, if they're UVC webcams, they must be set up correctly, otherwise you've got no facilities in this box to adjust brightness, contrast, focus, etc. Got 2 3.5mm sockets here. One is a mono mic in 3.5mm, and the other is a stereo line level 3.5mm input. USB-C input, or can be programmed as an output, so again you can connect hard disks or other devices through USB-C. PD input socket to power or charge the device, 9, 12 or 15 volts PD delivery. 3 ventilation slots here, as I guess there's a fan in there, as you've got here on the back of the unit a grill, which I suggest is a fan to cool the unit. On the front of the device you'll find we've got the power on off button, that 1/4 threaded mount, so you could mount this to a light stand or tripod using a heavy duty clamp. The nano SIM card, so you can actually use this over traditional broadcast networks. The SD card slot, so you can use that for recording or importing video files or stills or PDFs, whatever, to your presentation. And again on the side here we've got the 3.5mm audio out, should you want to use this to feed another audio mixer or for headphones. And that's it. So that's the device. 1.5 kilograms. It's quite a heavy device. Let me attach some inputs to this and I'll go through the setup of the device itself. So you can see I've got a number of devices attached to the Yolobox Extreme. I've got my iPhone 16 Pro Max connected via USB-C and a HDMI converter into HDMI 1. I've got another port here which I'm going to show you how it connects with another device. I've got a 512 SSD which is plugged into the USB-C output port. I've got a 3.5-inch standard hard drive plugged into USB-A. So I'm going to just re-enable the display, and you can see that's come up from its sleep mode. and sleep mode is actuated by just pressing the power button briefly, and that puts you into a sleep mode. So I'm going to attach a GoPro camera, which is 1080p output. If I try and attach it to one of the 4K inputs, so let me just try it on HDMI 4, you can see that it auto selects and it will not ask me what the frame rate is. If I plug this into a 1080p port and go into HDMI 2, when I plug that in there, it will ask me what the frame rate of that device is. So it's 60 frames per second. So I'm just going to go done. So now I've got HDMI 2. It's left HDMI 4 up because I plugged something in, but if you wanted to remove that, just tap and then touch the delete icon, and that will remove that from the screen. And the same with HDMI 3. I put a port on there and then I've deleted it. If you find that these icons are too small when you're doing your presentations, if you click the first icon there, it allows you to expand those to a reasonable size. Notice when they've been expanded, you can just see in the top right hand corner there is another icon, and if you touch that, it brings up a secondary menu which allows you to flip the clip vertically, horizontally, or rotate it through 90 degrees. Also got access to chroma keying if you're working on a green or blue background. Got cropping if you wanted to crop into that frame for whatever reason to make it smaller for a picture-in-picture or something. You can replicate it so you can have a secondary instance of that particular clip. Rename is a useful one, so instead of it just being HDMI 1, you can name this to say iPhone, which is this particular input, and then click the OK. So now you can see we've got iPhone. And finally you've got transition action, whether you want to transition when you go from clip to clip, or you've got the PTZ control for cameras which have got pan, tilt and zoom control. So those are my two inputs on HDMI 1 and HDMI 2. You can switch between them simply by tapping the icon on the screen. If you wanted to add another source, you've got the plus key here. So when I plus that, it brings you up this add video source menu. The ones that are black are the ones that will be auto selected when you plug a device into those ports, so you can't touch those. The ones that are in grey, it allows you to select that particular operation. So if I've got a video that I want to install as a video source, or images or PDF files, you can do that. So let me add an image. So if I select images, it will look first of all at my SD card. So I've got images on the SD card. I've got images on my hard disk. So if I look at this, I'm going to add that image and that image. Select done. So they now appear as another icon. Again, if you find that that's getting too big or too small, you can use that command there to change it. Again, if you wanted to add another video source, if I wanted to add a video, then you can see I've got videos from other applications. So let me add the video here, and that will appear as video 1. And if I select PDF, I've got a PDF there. I can add that. We'll go on to the multi-view in a moment. So now I've added my video sources, they are available to play. So if I wanted to look at that image in my demonstration, all I have to do is to tap the image, and you can see that I've got one of two. So that will now select my second image if I wanted to show it. Again, the same with the video. If I wanted to show the video, it will start running from the beginning. You can actually pause it while you make a statement and carry it on. So you've got control of that video file. If you have a PowerPoint presentation or a PDF file, then of course you can add it as a PDF there. Select it and then click done. Then that again appears as a PDF file when you go into your presentation, and you can see there are 15 pages in this PDF file, and again you could step through those, and you can actually set up in the program for it to auto step if you wanted to. In the multi-screen view you can set up multi-screen, so let's have a look at that. If I wanted to do picture-in-picture video, then obviously you can touch the picture-in-picture, choose the source. I'm going to take the video 2 as the A source, and I'm going to add the image as the secondary course. Click done. You can see now I've got the video in the background and I've got the picture-in-picture. So I can actually scale the picture-in-picture if I wanted to make that smaller, and then change the border thickness, change the border color, and you can change the appearance of it to square, diamond or rectangular, and you can position it to wherever you like using your touchscreen facility. So I'm going to put it over here. When you finish with that, you can say done, and then when you select that as your source, that will be here, picture-in-picture video. When you run that, you can see that you've got the picture-in-picture video created for you. As easy as that. To return to your normal screen, just tap the icon on the bottom right. You can see I've created a few more multi-views here. Video 2, picture-in-picture video, a split view, and a news layout. What I'm actually going to do is to record that to the SD card so we can have a look at that in the video. So I'm going to start recording. So I'm going to select first of all video 2, which is the video that's continued running in the background. We'll select picture-in-picture video, so that is that same view, but now we've added the picture-in-picture. We can have a look at the split view. So we've got two videos. We've got HDMI 1, HDMI 3 running as picture-in-picture if you like, and we've got the news layout, and again you can select the images that are going to appear in there. So quite a useful feature for building multi-views. You can now see I brought up the audio selection, and you can see the various inputs. So as I've relabeled the HDMI 1 as iPhone, it's immediately obvious to me I can then select iPhone. So if you do label your HDMI inputs, it really is a good tip. So if I want the video to be taken from the iPhone, all I have to do is to switch on that phone, and when you do that you can see that grey icon becomes green, and you can set your levels, so you can actually change the gain if you wanted to of the particular input. You've also got the program, so that will be what's recorded to the output stream, whether you're going to take that through to HDMI or whether you're going to record that onto the SD card or the SSD. Also notice that HDMI 2 has got an audio source, so that is the little webcam or the GoPro that's recording this. So if I wanted the actual audio from the GoPro rather than the iPhone, if I turn off the iPhone and turn on the GoPro, then again I'm going to take the audio from the GoPro, and again I can adjust the gain if I wanted to. If I've got more than one talent appearing on my presentation and I want them to have control of the audio, then if I select audio follows video, then as I select that particular track, then the video will follow the audio. So selecting the audio follow video on the iPhone and HDMI 2, which is the GoPro, when I switch over to the iPhone, you'll notice that the iPhone will go green and the GoPro will go grey. So let me switch over to the iPhone. You can see now that the audio is coming from the iPhone, where the audio from the GoPro has been blanked. Switch it back to the GoPro and the GoPro audio is being enabled. Let me record that and you can see the effect. So here we have the program stream being recorded, and we're at the moment taking the video from the GoPro Hero 4, and now I'm going to switch over to the iPhone. So we're now switched over to the iPhone, and that's the audio coming in from the iPhone. So you can see you can switch sources between two talents. The program stream being recorded, and we're at the moment taking the video from the GoPro Hero 4, and now I'm going to switch over to the iPhone. So we're now switched over to the iPhone, and that's the audio coming in from the iPhone. So you can see you can switch sources between two talents. There's also this option for a new control under the icon here, which is start video follows audio. So rather than audio follows video, you can now have video follows audio, and it requires you to set up the switch sensitivity and the threshold at which must be exceeded before it will switch. So that's something I haven't tried yet, so it's something to experiment with. Under the record screen, you can see we've got the recording resolution for the program output. At the moment I've got that set to 1080p, but you can have it out to 2K or 4K. At the moment I'm only recording to the SSD drive, which is being set as my recorded source, but I can also record the two inputs simultaneously. So I've got the iPhone and I've got the GoPro, so I'm recording those now as separate entities. So even if I've got a glitch in the program recording, I have the original files available on the hard disk as well. So that's a great addition, that you're recording the native files. The encoding format 264 or 265. Recording limits, it's saying if you don't want to lose video through unaccepted interruptions, choose the defaulted 10-minute option, or you can have it recording continuously and risk any sort of loss there. Storage settings, whether you want to store to the SD card or to the USB drive. So we'll select the USB drive as the output. So when we record now, the two files plus the program file will be recorded on the USB drive. You can set up the transitions as well between cuts. So the default is obviously cut, and the default transition time is 1 second. You can do a fade, which will fade between the two, and again you can select the time. So if I go from image 1 to image 2, then you can see we fade in and we fade out. So rather than a cut, it's a fade. And again, if we selected a wipe, if we go from one to the other, you get a wipe. So if you're into transitions or just a straightforward cut, they're available to you. You've also got fade to black if you want to end the presentation. You can see I've only just really skimmed the surface of the potential that this device has. Say for me, I'm not a live streamer, so I don't use any of the replay facilities or any of the facilities that you would set up if you're going to be live streaming. So if you're into live streaming sort of church services, funeral services, wedding services, or whether you've got a blog or something like that, or you do live stream to YouTube or the other channels, then this will give you full control of the background information that you're going to put out through that live stream. But for me as a content creator, it's an ideal switching device. I can add multiple sources, I can add background videos, a picture-in-picture, all from within one box without having to use a computer to set up those graphics and do the overloads and have Photoshop running. This allows me to do it. Is it a professional product? Well, probably not. It's high-end consumer. You haven't got things like the audio control. You don't have expanders and compressors and noise reduction that you might have on a professional piece of equipment. Again, if you wanted that, you could have those as an input into the mic or the line input. So if you're running XLRs or other video sources, you'd have to use that sort of mixer to bring in the audio. Then of course you've got audio sync problems, but this does give you a facility of changing the audio sync between HDMI and mic, etc. You don't have things like audio ducking, so if you've got a music track running in the background and then someone speaks, that audio ducking would dim the music while your speech was also heard. So those sort of things might be included as a future update. I don't know what Yololiv have plans for this particular product, but for me as a solo content creator, it provides all that I necessarily need. As in terms of expense, probably £2,000 is probably a high end for a single content creator, but if you consider what the ancillary bits would be for, say, an A10 mini, a recorder and audio mixers, you're probably going to approach that anyway. So this at £2,000 is probably an affordable purchase if you are going to set up a proper studio with multiple cameras and multiple microphones. So I've got no problems in at all recommending this as a standalone device without having all the clutter of all the other peripheral kit you would need to do that sort of work. So thanks very much for watching. Until my next video, if you've not already subscribed to this channel, why not hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon, and you can see my future videos. So until then, thanks again for watching. Please do take care, and I hope to see you all very soon. Goodbye for now.